All right. Okay. All right. Here we go.
Amazing SEALs. They don't speak for the community.
Chris Kyle's a good one to bring up. Well known within the community that he beat his wife and basically wasn't the stand-up team guy, that they made a movie about. He was out there trying to get a body count, trying to brand himself as the SEAL sniper, most, kills. And he was working under Jocko Willings, who was basically pushing his guys out to do daylight basically patrols and raids. We own the night. We call everybody else day walkers. And Jocko Willings wasn't out there basically with those guys. He was basically pushing his guys out there. And I don't know how many people
what officers do.
No, in our community, at those levels, it was like Eric Christensen was on that helicopter to go rescue his guys.
That he was.
Jocko Willings is basically selling a brand and a persona that he didn't live up to himself. He sells extreme leadership, and everybody in the American public, hook, line, and sinker.
There's thousands of amazing SEALs.
So just to put in context for, you stop me and unfuck me if I'm wrong, but from the SEALs that I've talked to, that basically the premise is like, hey, we can see at night and you can't. So there's shitloads of fucking nighttime missions. And then the other thing, that old guy speaking right there, that guy was a SEAL. I don't know if he's still a SEAL, but these are things that I have heard over the last 10 years. I've heard both those rumors. I've heard stories. When you see that, is there anything you can enlighten us about? Have you heard those stories? Are these just people who are upset because of the fame that Jocko and Chris Kyle have gotten? Do you have any thoughts or comments or?
Well, in one aspect, this gentleman who you say is a SEAL, I've never seen him before.
Yeah.
In one aspect, that's a seriously hardcore allegation to say that everyone knows that he.
I don't know that guy, by the way. Someone did tell me though a few days ago or yesterday or something that guy is a SEAL.
Yeah. So that's a serious allegation to say that everyone knows that Chris Kyle was beating his wife. I don't know that. Who knows, right?
I don't even care about beating his wife. Like. I was thinking about more just like shooting people to get a high body count.
Yeah. So as far as that, so when I was in the SEALs, man, my best friend who later died, Brett Merhew, he knew Chris Kyle's scout sniper spotter. Okay, his buddy, right? And he said that he would be behind the glass all the time, like Chris Kyle, right? He said, but they all would be behind their glass, and none of them were shooting. And every time it was time for Chris Kyle to go, there was nothing out there. Many, many times, not all the time, but many times when Chris Kyle would get behind the glass, the gun would just be going off rhythmically, pow, 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 pow. Who am I to judge anything on what these guys are doing, what they're not? But I will say that it was very well known in the SEALs that Chris Kyle should not have been touting those robust numbers. First of all, there's no way to understand all your confirmed kills. Many guys get hit, let's say, and fall behind a berm and then later get help and then they live. And you say you dumped them, meaning I killed that guy. Everybody in the SEAL has said they shot somebody in the face, right? So that's one aspect of this, is that Chris Kyle, I think it was really looked down on the SEALs for him getting on and saying that he killed so many and the number one sniper. There's Russian women snipers that got 400 kills with enemy combatants during the war, that were coming at them, and they had iron sights. They didn't have a big old night force, scope. And so it was really, really looked down upon, Chris Kyle doing that and never to take away any in his sacrifice and his actual numbers and this and this. But the way that it was presented is kind of highly unfortunate. Of course, he passed away, right? And it just proves that he's just a man like all of us, some psycho shot him,
But are your buddy Brent was his spotter?
So my buddy Brett Merhew knew his spotter.
So a spotter is someone who's out there with the sniper. And another thing you're saying is that the reason why there's some skepticism or kind of some stories that come out like this is you're saying the snipers would be in rotations, and whenever he was there, dudes were getting popped. But when the other snipers were there, it was quiet. And so there was some like head scratching.
Yeah, it's pretty well known that Chris Kyle's gun was always going off, and the other guys, it wasn't like that because that's not how war is. Maybe if you're in Stalingrad, you know, your rifle's good, your Mosin Nagant's going to be just going off all day long.
Yeah.
But for your rifle to be going off all the time and to get this confirmed kill and to be so detailed, it just doesn't work like that. Okay. You know, often the range is at a quite a distance. You have heat waves coming up, smoke going on. You know, you have a lot of factors that it's not clear and concise. And then he scratched his nose and he did this and this. It's very quick often. It's very quick. It's short distances, far distances. The point is that, you know, that spotter did say that, right? Doesn't take away from Chris Kyle's great service. As far as beating his wife, come on, who knows about that? Yeah. I know he did knock out some guy in Hollywood, but we won't talk about that.
Okay, next show. Let me make a note here. A knocked out guy in Hollywood. Yeah, I don't really. Hey, listen.
I can't talk about that.
I don't condone hitting women or men or anything. But I also, once again, if you're gonna marry a guy who is touting that he's killed fucking 100 people with a fucking bullet to the pumpkin, you should know that he's not a normal man, and that you could get slapped
right.
by.
Right.
I was slapped off a bar stool. I've been slapped off a bar stool by one man, and it was the Crazy Seal. A friend of mine just slapped me across the face, knocked me off a bar stool.
Right. Hey,
for no reason, just drunken seal.
Yeah. Now I will say this. Yeah. And this was really disappointing to me. This kind of always kind of took me back a little bit with Taya Kyle, right?
Who?
Taya Kyle, Chris Kyle's wife.
Oh,
they were I'm pretty sure they were getting a divorce, and so I don't know their marital issues. We all have things go on and stuff. I don't condone hitting women whatsoever, but they were basically getting a divorce. But when he died, it didn't appear that way anymore. And you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But it was portrayed as quite the opposite. Who knows? Not to get into their personal issues, but you know, I mean, look at Lone Survivor. Look at Robert O'Neill. It's all me. I mean, the name Lone Survivor is extremely arrogant. Right. Think about that. It's atrocious arrogance. I'm the lone survivor. I saw his debrief, his aftermath report that nobody really saw. And he was like, I guess I just survived because I'm just a badass. That's not something you say directly after your buddies are killed around you. And a lot of my boys were like, hey, bro, he should have been smoked along with him. That's just how it goes. You should never be proud of being the lone survivor. You should hide out because it's kind of disgraceful in the SEALs to come back alone and your buddies be left behind and to die, you know?
Yeah, fair enough. A lot of those guys, well, let's move on to the Jocko thing. Any thoughts on that about the day missions? Did I mischaracterize that, or do you have any thoughts on that? This guy's basically saying two things. Jocko is sending SEALs out during the day, which is not something you should do to SEALs. And the second thing he's suggesting, at least my ignorant interpretation is that he didn't go on the missions when he should have.
They should never Monday morning quarterback Jocko, right? Or these guys. Like, it's one thing to say, come on, Chris Kyle's numbers were a little fluffed up, or maybe everybody else wasn't shooting, but he was. It's another to question a guy that has sacrificed so much. So I really don't like that.
When you don't like that.
But I will say this about extreme ownership.
Yeah.
Extreme ownership only works, brother, when it's a fair system. But when the system's not fair anymore, extreme ownership gets your head cut off in the French Revolution. You know, extreme ownership get you put in prison. You know, so I disagree with some of the aspects of that,
right.
Yonder, but I will say it's very important that when a guy like Jocko has an outstanding career, not to go after anything he's done, because really what it is pure jealousy, you know, in a lot of, because you just don't know. We don't know if Chris Kyle beat his wife. We don't know what Jocko's we don't know what Jocko was commanded to do, you know?
Right.
Jocko was, you know, Jocko was doing Jocko. Jocko wasn't afraid to go out, you know? He ain't afraid to go out.
Are the implications that Chris Kyle is that Chris Kyle was shooting innocents, right? Just to wrap that up. That's the implication.
I mean, the implications are there's just, when your team's not getting the kills, but you're getting them all, and there's no enemy combatants in a lot of the areas that they were in, but you're getting them all the time. I would never say here on air that it's for sure. But can I tell you a quick story about some things? You know, I had a Marine buddy that was a scout sniper, and I'll never forget. He was changed forever. The last time I saw him, we ate some food together in the chow hall, and I remember looking at him. And he wasn't there anymore. Okay, and he later died actually, and he wasn't really there in the eyes anymore. I said, "Brother, what happened on that deployment?" It was the initial invasion in Baghdad, Iraq. Scout sniper. He said, "Man." He said it was crazy. We were just dumping people all the time. And that's the mindset that a lot of guys were in, probably Chris Kyle included. And he says, you know, we were dumping people all the time. So what do you mean? He says, well, there was a lady out on a balcony, and she was really far off. And I saw her, and I noted it to my lieutenant commander, and she was dusting the carpet out like this. And the commander told me to fire. And I said, no. It's a woman dusting her carpet out on a balcony. And the commander said, it's an enemy combatant. Do you understand? Fire. And my buddy said, it's not an enemy. It's a woman dusting a carpet off on a balcony. And the commander said, I just said that it is an enemy combatant. Do you understand? Squeeze. Boom. Canoed her head, man. I mean, how do you live with that afterwards?
I'll finish with this. How do you live with giving the U.S. government telling your kids to give them vaccines, and you actually listen to them and do it?
Exactly. The same.
I don't mean to laugh, but it's only because I'm so uncomfortable in the fact that people give their kids fucking drugs that the U.S. government tells them to give their kids.
Bro, give your kid that's like a little rat when he's born, a bunch of drugs. It's crazy to me.
Crazy.
Brother, I love you, man. I got to go.
All right. Hey, I appreciate you. You've lived up to every bit of what I thought you'd be and more. I'll be in touch, reschedule, and we'll pick up. I'd love to make it to the end of your life, to your present day where you are today. I'm dying to know how you ended up in Miami. All right. Jimmy Watson, love you, buddy. Thank you.
Thank you so much.